To another video on my testimonies of God. So, from age 21, I believe I got out of the Marine Corps, to 33, I really didn't have any bold testimonies. I got into some troubles and things. Once I got out, with a miracle to get out under honorable conditions, I immediately had shacked up with a lady and three children prior to that for about the last year, basically driving back and forth every day. And so I was already locked into that lifestyle and relationship, of which I was worthless. I didn't know how to be dad. I didn't know how to do anything. Just young and dumb, and of course I never had a dad. And of course I asked them for forgiveness for my lack of being a dad and lack of treating them correctly like a dad would and so on. But I did that later in life. I didn't do that until I came to know the Lord personally. And that occurred at about age 33. But before we get there were a few instances where God interceded because it could have been life-threatening. And one of those is on Ogeechee Road in Savannah, Georgia. We had rented a house on Ogeechee Road, totally black neighborhood, for several blocks around. I carried a Charter Arms 44 Special off and on during the time, but at this time I didn't have a gun. So we went on a vacation to go see my mother, I believe, came back, and the house had been robbed, and the dog was poisoned and all those kind of things. And it looked like they had been there really recently. So I knew the landlord was very nice, elderly couple in their 60s, 70s, and had rented us the place. And so I took the children and Marie over to the landlord's, and he had a 38 special that he loaned me, and I told him what was going on. So I raced back over, about 2 or 3 minute drive, whatever it was, and went back into the house, looked around, and then I started walking around the block looking for whoever I could get. Well, I get all the way around the block, and there's a pickup truck with a guy sitting in it, and it's parked about 150 feet away from the back area of the apartment. And so I'm walking up towards it, and as soon as I start to get in range, they drive off. Doesn't seem like much, but it could have been a shootout and death, or prison, or whatever, over that ordeal. And so, and there's a few other gun instances here and there, and basically I just lived for myself, playing tennis and basketball whenever I wanted, and had a job with Grumman Aviation, and moving here and there, and then we moved to washington, where her sister lived, in Gleason, Arnold, and I started logging for several years, and I went to church Easter's and Christmas maybe. I drank when I felt like it. My motto was, don't go out sleeping around with anybody that isn't prettier than the lady you're with. That's a real disgusting deal, isn't it? But the reality is, I was just a big old tough Marine that did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And that's the way I lived, wasting my life, not knowing it at the time, but And so in about, let's see, meanwhile, I went back to uh, college, but I had got my GED, which was another little miracle in and of itself. While I was in Japan, I attended night classes and picked up my GED, which you have to get into college. And then in Centralia, Missouri, I applied and got into a community college and went a couple of years there and got a degree in sociology, associates. And so I was progressing along, but nothing with God, and no real known testimonies because I wasn't seeking Him, neither was I reading the Word of God, and so it was basically void. And then finally, in Washington, it was 14 years I stayed in this relationship, or I should say, they stayed with me and vice versa. They're wonderful people, and I'm glad that they've done well in their lives for the most part. And anyways, it was over. So finally, the last argument or whatever it was, I had left, walked out, and got in the car. It was dark. It was raining. It was about 11 o'clock ish. And I started reflecting because I was 33. I said, is this it for life? I mean, can we just go find somebody else and get married or whatever, move in, and then we just play life? And I said, okay, God, if you're really real, and like I said, I was in tears. If you're really real, I'm ready for you. I'm ready to seek you and try and serve you uh, however I can. And I said, for my part, Lord, I will go find uh, the Bible and get into it and start reading. And that's exactly what I did because I meant it. And so on the next one, we'll get into what happened. Have a good day.